Please welcome Dr. Jerald Dawkins of True Digital Security.
Thank you. About a year ago, I walked outside and I saw my car, and somebody had broken into my car, taken out the window, and so I started to investigate. You know, what all did they take? Did they take my stereo? And lo and behold, my stereo was there. In fact, I really didn't see much that they took at all, outside of the fact that they damaged my window and caused me great pain. And in replacing it, you know, there may have been some coins that were removed from the ashtray, but the radio was still there. I didn't have much in my car to begin with. I don't know why they broke in. So I got my car fixed and went down the road. About 6 months after that, I happened to be looking at my cell phone bill. And on my cell phone bill, I see an extraneous charge. It's for a ringtone, Flow Rida. Apparently, I like rapping all of a sudden. And I was like, I didn't download a rap song. What is this from? And I investigated a little bit closer, and I noticed that it was a charge on a cell phone that I no longer had. In fact, I thought I closed the account. And then it occurred to me, in my car, I had actually left my cell phone. That's what they stole. They broke into my car, and they stole my cell phone. I didn't realize it until 6 months later when I was investigating. So obviously, they had a good 6 months to use my phone. I subsequently stopped the cell phone and the charges. How does this apply to cybersecurity? In cybersecurity, we have attacks happening every day. You hear about attacks on the Chinese are attacking the firewall, or how many people get emails about winning the lottery, or you get some piece of malware. It happens regularly. And in fact, it happens so regularly that you can go down to the local Best Buy or to the IT firm and go and get your laptop cleaned. Essentially what you're doing is you're fixing that broken glass. The question that I want you to ask is, what did they do? What's on the inside? That's essentially what I do for a living. At True Digital Security, we focus on cyber attacks. We focus on regulatory compliance and how to secure businesses and protect their information. And what I want to talk about today is really looking beyond that initial attack, looking beyond that broken glass, and looking at the inside. What are these guys actually doing with our data? And should we be concerned or should we not? So looking at this thing, I want you to look at, we call it a cyber kill chain. This is my Cybersecurity 101 lesson. So on the left-hand side of the attack, we call that the left of the attack of the cyber kill chain. That is when an attacker's doing reconnaissance work, they're weaponizing their attack, and they're delivering the attack. What does that mean to you? On the left-hand side, that's the email that they're sending out. That's the spam message that they're sending out. That's them when they compromise a website, and they're hoping that you go to the website and download a piece of malware and install it on your system. The left-hand side of the attack is the means by which they're trying to get onto your system. The middle section is the actual exploit of the code. So that would be you double-clicking on something. That would be you opening up an attachment. That would be the actual exploit taking place. Currently, today, most of our focus is really on that middle section. You know, there's not much that we can do on the left-hand side of the attack. We can encourage people and educate them about not clicking on links, but ultimately, we're going to get those emails. Antivirus software. Most of the time when people say, oh, you're in information security, what's the best type of antivirus software I can get? And while antivirus software is important, cybersecurity is much more than just antivirus software. Antivirus software basically focuses on that exploit. The real challenge that I want to talk to you about is on the right-hand side of the attack. The right-hand side of the attack is similar to, I broke the window, now I'm in your car. What else am I going to do once I gain access to that system? So these guys they're getting smart. We're talking about nation states. We're talking about enhanced cyber criminals, nation states, whoever it is. Once they gain access to a system, they're not interested in breaking glass and saying that, okay, we broke the glass, we're done. They're interested in controlling and maintaining access to that system. And that's where the hard part comes in. What's interesting is there were some studies done last year in investigating the major incidents within across the U.S. And what they found is 94% of all the attacks took, on average, 90 days to identify. That was 90 days that an attacker is sitting on somebody's machine stealing information or doing something, using that as a jump point to do some other attack. In some cases, it took 3 years for somebody to identify something. How many people have heard of the Stuxnet? That was one of those big ones that made the news. Stuxnet, believe it or not, that was a 10-year-old exploit. It took the industry 10 years to even identify Stuxnet. And then the news brought it up as like the most emerging and emerging APT, advanced persistent threat, known to the world. So these are real challenges on the right-hand side, and this is where the challenge comes in from a cybersecurity perspective. How can the industry address these? Well, I'm going to tell you how I think the industry is going to drive these things and how you all can help me in pursuing that goal. And really, it's a great analogy, and it's a soccer goal analogy. Currently, the way that most organizations are focusing on cybersecurity is to focus on their internal network. They want to make sure that they're secure, and they want to understand what the boundaries of their goals are, and they're essentially looking at their goal. They're looking at the net, which is a good strategy. You know, you definitely need antivirus software. You definitely need intrusion detection systems. You definitely need policies and procedures. So those are all important. But it doesn't mean you're going to win the game, right? If you're playing soccer and all you're doing is you're focused on your goal and you're not facing the adversary, chances are you're going to lose the game. So there's a new paradigm in cybersecurity, and that's turn around and face your opponent. You have to understand the tactics and techniques of these adversaries that are coming at us. And this is something that the federal government has really started to drive over the course of a couple of years, and probably really came in light with the most recent executive order. So what is the executive order? Has anybody heard of the executive order in cybersecurity? Essentially, the federal government saw a need to enforce or somehow encourage cybersecurity to happen at the local private levels. Why? Because the federal government is concerned with the continuity of our nation. And so with that continuity of our nation, and knowing that over 85% of our critical infrastructure is within the hands of private sector, it's in the best interest of the federal government to make sure that we're secured, that these private sectors. For example, if I'm an attacker and I want to attack the DoD, would I go and attack the DoD? Or would I go through a contractor to gain access to DoD intelligence? And that's the purpose, that's the reason why the federal government is so interested in sharing information. So my goal, my initiative, is to encourage this information sharing and to gain access to federal government resources and understanding, to turn the table, to turn around and start to face your adversaries. But we can't do this individually as individual companies. To Dr. McKeever's talk, One Oklahoma, I really like that message in the sense that this is really a coordinated effort, and I would like to see this coordinated effort happening in Oklahoma as well as in other regions, but we really need an Oklahoma focus with our healthcare, with our innovations and our IP that we're creating, with the oil and gas and the energy sector. But at the same rate, gaining access to federal government information, we don't necessarily want the federal government to drop devices on all of our networks. You know, in light of recent situations, I don't really want the NSA to be tapping my network and watching my traffic. So our goal is to create a new initiative. We call it the SOC 2. It's kind of a play in words, but it's a center, an operations center for cybersecurity. what's the goals? Our goals are kind of threefold. One-fold is to actually provide an operational capacity to our critical infrastructure. That's our local, state governments, and that's our oil and gas or energy sector. There's also to encourage research within the universities, to allow that communication to take place, and also to create opportunity for our graduates. We've had a lot of success in socializing the SOC 2, and I encourage you all to come and talk to me afterwards about some opportunities that you guys can have with supporting this effort. And with that, and I know I'm out of time, questions?